Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing a video on how I annotate my books and how I book journal. So starting off this video, I want to talk about how I annotate and the supplies I use and show you some books I've annotated and walk you through my annotating process. Recently, I have not been annotating my books. I have carried a pen with me and I use literally any pen. I don't use a particular pen. I use like either the big dollar ones or I use a fine pen, like a fine point pen. It's really not that serious. If I'm not heavily annotating the book, like tabbing and highlighting, I'll just underline lines I like. Typically I just take a picture of the quotes I like, and that's how I keep track of the ones I like for my book journal, which we'll see later. But if I do heavily annotate, which is what I used to do at the beginning of my reading journey about 2 years ago, I used to really annotate every single book. So if you see the Colleen Hoover books behind me, every single one of them is tabbed and annotated, because that's what I used to do. It was very expensive. I will show you the tabs I used to use. It is just the Post-it sticky note tabs. I would not recommend using these. I mean, they're good, okay? They're good. I really enjoyed them, but I wouldn't recommend using them if you are a heavy annotator and tabber, because that can get very expensive. I would recommend bulk buying. They have some on Amazon. I will put up a picture and the link in the description, but they have some that look exactly like this and you can buy them in bulk. I would highly recommend doing that. They have much more colors so you can precisely annotate your books. These only have 5 colors. And there's also some other ones that I will also link and put up a picture right now of some on Amazon that you can bulk buy, which, because I want to re-annotate some of my books, I will be buying the ones on the screen right now. I really like the look of them, so I will be getting those. I'm going to walk you through the categories of which I tab usually. They all have different emotions or situations. I don't change it upon the book. Right now, I have a universal tabbing system. So this is what, on every single book, if you were to open it, all the tabs represent the same thing. Pink represents romantic scenes between the two characters, because I mostly read romance. Blue is sad scenes, something that makes me sob or something that's just really sad in the story. Green is like important scenes or funny scenes. I wasn't very creative when I started this tabbing system. Purple is literally just like quotes I like and want to remember. The orange is smut scenes, and I don't need to elaborate on that, okay? So that is my tabbing system. That's how I tab my books usually. It never really changes. And then as for highlighters, I do use a specific type of highlighter, even though I do want to also buy from Amazon more highlighters because mine are running out. I've used them so much. I do use the mid liners, which I will also put in the description if you want to buy them. Don't find them to bleed through too much, so I really enjoyed them and they have really nice colors. And finally, let's get on to my highlighting and underlining. When I highlight and annotate, it's very intense. Usually reserve that annotations for books I really enjoy. Like if I get 20 pages in and I'm loving the book, I will typically bring out my highlighter and pen because I know I will want to annotate it. My underlining without highlight, it'll usually be like either an entire paragraph where I don't want to highlight the entire thing, so I'll put brackets, or I'll underline some important parts of it and put brackets. Typically I highlight and underline, so if something's really important to me, I will underline it first and then highlight it after. And if there's certain words or certain emotions or certain characteristics within that sentence or that paragraph, I will either bracket or I will circle. Oh, I'm going to show you an example right now because that's a little confusing. Heartless, this is a book I've heavily annotated because I love it. Let me get a page that I feel like is very heavily annotated. I don't know if you can see this, but here I have, okay, well, my writing on the side says he's so hot I can't, so let's ignore that. But this is an entire scene where he's like doing something with his body, not saying something. Usually I will highlight dialogue most of the time because that's what like really gets me. But if he's like doing something with action wise, I will usually bracket it. And if I have to say something, I will. I didn't have to say that, but I put it down. Then up here, he had his nickname Red, and every single time it came up, I would circle it because I loved that. Over here, I underlined this and highlighted it because it said, but with Kate, it feels different. I like it. It feels like he has a special name for me. And that was a cute line, and circled the different because I felt like a significant word, and then the I like it was significant because it was her like acknowledging that she has feelings for him, you know what I mean? It all depends. Sometimes I really heavily annotate, like this is a spoiler, so I'm not going to read what it says, but you can see that the dialogue between the two of them, oh, this is a smut scene. Okay, guys. But the dialogue, like, I would circle it if it was really important to me and highlight it, but some of them I would just underline and highlight. This is probably so confusing, but if you get what I'm saying, like, I will underline if there's characteristics or actions that he's doing that I feel like are sending me feral and making me crazy. But if there's dialogue, that's when I'll usually highlight as well, and circling as on important words. That's my annotating system when I don't use tabs. I'll show you another example in which I didn't use tabs. This book is also heavily annotated. It's All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. This book is heavily like annotated because, especially with this, it was things that he was doing that I felt were really, really important because it's a slow burn. So it was very important to every single move he made. He had a nickname Angel. I circled that because I thought it was important. I feel like I'm a teacher, like, and we're like at carpet time, like reading time, and I'm like, ew, okay. He said, "Where are you going?" And I put sucker. I do tend to write how I'm feeling into books sometimes as well. When I annotate, it is not like intellectual, okay? It is literally just me foaming at the mouth and saying, "Oh my god, I love him. He's so hot. I want him so bad." Those are typically phrases I say. It's all dependent, like, you don't have to follow this, but I feel like it's fun. So me putting so significant in this annotation because he said the word please, I will take no questions. Like, I will take no questions. A brief rundown. We'll underline for actions that the main characters do that are important, but I don't feel like deserve a highlight. Highlight and underline is usually for dialogue that is important or significant to the storyline or the relationship, and then I will circle significant words or actions that the main characters do that I feel like emphasize the scene and really build the scene. I obviously write in the margins my random thoughts that aren't intellectual, but I feel like are important because why not? Now we're gonna move on to my annotations with tabs. I brought 2 heavily tabbed books down so I can show them as an example. The first one is Some Kind of Perfect by Kristen Becker Ritchie, which is the last book in the Addicted Calloway Sister series. I have so many tabs, and with this one I did lightly underline and highlight, but I wasn't in that era of my life yet. I was in my tabbing and writing in the margins. As you can see, I have pretty much every tab of every color. The orange is sparse, which is really shocking for the series. So this is typically what a book that is heavily tabbed will look like. And I knew I would heavily tab this one because it was the last book in the series. And I tab because I do want to go back to these scenes and reread them, because like if I flip to this page with the purple on it and I read this line, like I wanted to remember it. I don't do it for aesthetic purposes on the outside. Obviously, this is not very aesthetic looking. That's why I don't put my books facing out like this. I put them like that, which is typical, but I know some people put them out if they like their tabs, but I don't like the look of my tabs. So I just do it for myself. So that is that one. Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. This is my favorite standalone novel ever. I love this book so much. And it is very much heavily tabbed. Like, I probably went through a lot of tabs, and in this one, which is unique, it has a lot of blue, which, as you remember, is sad. Okay? It has a lot of blue. I was going through all of the emotions in this book. If you've read it, you know. But I'll give you a flip through. See that? Those are like all the tabs. In this one, I also did a little underlining and talking. Those are my systems on annotating, and the different ones I choose. I literally don't tab anymore, but I am reserving my tabbing to rereads of series that I love. So I am planning to reread the Boys of Tommen series sometime this year and tabbing and annotating it heavily because I only underline a little bit, and those are some of my favorite books ever. And I do want to reread like Darling Venom and tabbing and annotating it because I love those books so much, and I do want to be able to go back to them and look at tabs and see the scenes and stuff. So that's my annotating system. That's the first half of this video. The other half is going to be quick because my book journaling is not too difficult. I do have a book journal that I bought on Amazon, and it's also made by a YouTuber, a booktuber. I use a Clockwork Reader's journal, Hannah, if you follow her on YouTube. She makes this journal. I will link it on Amazon. I love this journal. It's almost full, and I have been very not good at book journaling, but I will show you some pages, and you can also find it at Barnes & Noble. I'm pretty sure I saw it there. But I really do love this journal. It is set up for you. You don't really have to do anything, which was so good for me because I'm not a very creative person. So I wanted a journal that was already set up and very, very cute. And I love the green color of this. I love it so much. In here, it's so much more than a book journal. You have a to be read. We also have a favorite books section. There's also reading goals, which I don't fill these out. I feel really bad, but I don't fill them out. And then reading stats. Let's go to my hothouse flower page. You have your title, which obviously says hothouse flower. You have your author. You have a narrator if you read it on audiobook. Then you have a format, which you can put like on your Kindle or audiobook or physical. Usually all mine say physical. And then you can fill in your star rating, which this book got a 5 stars. And then you have your date started and your date finished, a genre, number of pages, and where it was recommended by. The prompts underneath, or the questions, are what is your favorite quote? Where did you read this book? The most memorable scene? Would you recommend this book and why? And what did you learn from this book? What's your favorite quote? That's usually my favorite part, and it's why I take pictures of quotes, because this is the part that is most important to me in my book journal, is my favorite quote. I started this in 2022 at the beginning, and I read like 50 something books, and I'm currently almost at 50 books read or something. No, I am farther than 50 books read in the year of 2023, but I haven't updated my book journal in a long time. Also in here you have your favorite authors, like some of your favorite quotes, like your most anticipated book releases and stuff, and like some, if you want to curate a playlist for some books. Also track where you buy your books most often. So that is like kind of a flip through of this book, and that's how I like book journal. I haven't updated my book journal in a long time. I've been keeping track of my books mainly on Goodreads because it's just so much more convenient than sitting down and filling out this book journal. And once I got behind, I was like, I can't ever do it again, which is so bad. Like, that's a bad mentality, but that's just like what I felt. I mainly keep track on Goodreads, which is always down in my description. If you want to follow me and friend me on Goodreads, I would love it. I love Goodreads. I love that app so much, and I'm constantly updating what I'm reading. That is basically it. Of this book journal, I highly recommend it. She's also a book creator, so I highly recommend supporting her as well. That is basically how I annotate in my book journaling process. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it inspired you to start annotating if you haven't, or start book journaling if you hadn't. Yeah, that is the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, please give this video a big thumbs up and comment down below. And if you want to see more of my face, you can subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!